Hello, welcome to Analog Circuit Design online lecture series. Myself Rima Rawal from LG Institute of Engineering and Technology in the Department of Electronics and Communication. I will be taking your online lecture series of Analog Circuit Design subject. So, in this session, we are going to start the unit Operational Amplifiers. In this unit, today's topic is Introduction to Op-Amp IC741. We are going to see this topic here. Basically, we are going to start with the Op-Amp concept. What are the operational amplifiers? In that Op-Amp, we are going to see the IC741 configuration, its pin diagram, and what are the roles of its symbols and what are the roles of its terminals. That we are going to see in this session. So let's start with that. So first of all, let us understand what is Op-Amp. So you all are aware about the word amplifiers. Now what is the role of amplifier? So amplifiers are used to amplify the input signals. So we have seen the amplifying devices. We have seen the bipolar junction transistors, field effect transistors and such amplifiers. Now in this subject, we are going to see the operation amplifiers. That stands for Op-Amp. Now what is Op-Amp? So as the name suggests, the amplifiers which performs variety of operations that are called as the Op-Amp. Okay? So operational amplifiers are linear devices that have all the properties required for nearby ideal DC amplification. That means whatever the DC amplification is required, that satisfies the Op-Amps. Now, they are therefore used extensively in signal conditioning, filtering, or to perform mathematical operations such as addition, subtraction, integration and differentiation. Right? So, the amplifiers which are used to perform variety of operations such as addition, subtraction, integration or differentiation or any such operations are performed by the Op-Amp. There are various ICs available which can perform this variety of operations. We can use a single ICs and to use the components in such a manner that gives us the desired applications. So, first of all, let us see Op-Amp symbols and terminals. So here, as you can see, the Op-Amp symbol and its terminals are indicated. The first one over here is indicated non-inverting input, and then the inverting input is indicated, and here from this we are obtaining the output. Okay. Now there are basically two input terminals in any Op-Amp and one output terminal. Now two input terminals are, one is inverting input terminal and another one is non-inverting input terminal. So the non-inverting terminal is the input terminal where if we give the input, we get the output which is non-inverting. That means the output will be same to that of input, there will be no phase shift introduced. Whereas as a reverse case, that is in the inverting input, in inverting input if we give any input, the output is inverted to that of input. That means we will get the phase shift of 180 degree or so as compared to the input. Okay? So this is the Op-Amp symbols and the terminals in the Op-Amp ICs. Now let us see the basically Op-Amp symbol terminals having related to IC741. So here IC741 Op-Amp symbols and its terminals are indicated. So as you can see, there are two input terminals indicated for particular Op-Amp IC741. That is at pin number 2 we have the inverting input, at pin number 3 we have the non-inverting input, and then we have pin number 7 which has the VCC, that is supply voltage. Then at pin number 4 we have minus VEE, that is our ground terminal, and pin number 6 is for output terminal. Okay. Now positive supply voltage and negative supply voltage are given to run the IC. It is defined in the data sheet that which IC operates on maximum which power supply categories. and based on that pin numbers are indicated for particular IC741. Now what these pin numbers indicate? That means whenever you will see an IC, whether it be your dual inline package DIP or metal can package or flat pack, the pin numbers indicate that according to our particular application, to at which point the input is given or output is obtained or supply is given or ground is to be connected. Okay, so here for using IC741, if you want to give the input, we have the pin number 2 and 3, and if you want to get the output, we have the pin number 6. Okay, so based on this pin numbers, we are obtaining the connections. Now let us see OPAMP IC741 physical appearance. That means whenever you will see IC741 in your labs, how it will look. So this is how the IC741 looks like. As you can see over here, the pin numbers are starting from 1 to 8. What are its pin configurations and pin numbers are there, that we will see. Here the dot indicates that pin number 1 is starting from that. Okay, so pin number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Likewise, there are 8 pins in IC741 and it will look like this. Okay, so this is how your IC741 will look like in your labs when you will do the practicals. Now, next we will see the pin configurations of OPAMP IC741. So this is the pin diagram of IC741. As we have seen, there are total 8 pins in IC741 that is indicated. Pin number 1 is for offset null. Here offset null is given. Then pin number 2 is for inverting input, as we have seen in the symbol of IC741. Pin number 3 is for non-inverting input, that is the positive input terminal. Pin number 4 is of -V, that is negative voltage, or as you can say -VEE, negative supply voltage. Then here pin number 5 is of offset null. So pin number 5 is for offset null, similar to that of 1, but 1 is for positive and the second one is for the negative. That means positive offset null and negative offset null. Then pin number 6. Pin number 6 is for output. That means we are getting the output from this terminal. Okay. Next is pin number 7. Pin number 7 is for positive supply voltage, that is +V. Alright. And pin number 8. Pin number 8 is for no connection. That means it is left open. It is of no use. Okay. So pin number 8 in IC741 is extra pin. It is left open. It is of no use. There is no connection. Pin number 8. So this is the pin configurations of IC741. 8 pins. Pin number 1 is for offset null. Pin number 2 is for inverting input. Pin number 3 is for non-inverting input. Pin number 4 is for negative supply voltage. Pin number 5 is for offset null. Pin number 6 is for output. Pin number 7 is for positive supply voltage, and pin number 8 is for no connection. Okay, this is the pin configuration of IC741. You need to remember this. Now, next is, let us see features of IC741. Okay, so first feature is that the short circuit and overload protection is provided in IC741. That means IC741 has inbuilt short circuit and overload protection in it. That means there is no requirement of external short circuit protection circuit that is to be attached by using IC741. So here in IC741, short circuit and overload protection is provided. Next, it uses low power consumption. That means while using IC741, power consumption is low. Next, that is large common mode rejection ratio and differential voltage ranges. Now here CMRR and PSRR are the main parameters when related to any OPAMP ICs. So by using IC741, it has large common mode rejection ratio. That means it is the ratio of differential gain to common mode gain. So IC741 provides large common mode rejection ratio and differential voltage ranges. There is another feature of IC741. Next feature is that there is no external frequency compensation required. That means frequency compensation circuit or frequency compensation parameters are not required by using I741. So these are the features of I741. First one is short circuit and overload protection provided. Second one is low power consumption. The third one is large common mode ejection ratio and differential voltage ranges. And the fourth one is no external frequency compensation is required. So these are the basic features of I741. The last one is we can consider that there are no latches. That is also another add-on feature. Now, let us see the types of integrated circuits. There are various types of ICs available. We are going to see the IC classification now. So, integration circuits have basically three types. The first one is, it is based on active device. We will see the classification of integrated circuits based on active device. Then the second is based on the application. That means based on the particular applications, how ICs are classified and how they are used. And the last one is based on technology. Okay? So these are the basic three types based on which ICs are classified. First one is based on active device. Second one is based on the application. And the third one is based on the technology. Okay? Now let us see first classification based on active device. So based on active device, they can be classified into two categories. First one is bipolar IC and the second one is unipolar IC. So as the name suggests, bipolar will have two polarities and unipolar IC will have the single polarity. So based on the active devices, bipolar and unipolar ICs are obtained. Then based on the application, again based on the application there are two categories or two classifications of ICs. First one is linear or analog IC and the second one is non-linear or digital IC. That means in linear ICs, we will have the linear components or analog components, and in non-linear IC we will use digital components. Okay, so in analog IC we will use resistors, inductors, op-amps likewise, and in digital ICs we will use shift registers or logical gates or such digital devices. Okay, that is called as digital IC or non-linear IC. Then the next classification is based on technology. So based on technology again, there are two classifications. First one is hybrid technology. So based on technology, if we are using hybrid technology, there is the first classification. And the second one is monolithic technology. If we are using the single monolithic technology, so that is also a IC based on technology. So this is the classification of integrated circuits. First one is based on active device. Second one is based on the application. Third one is based on the technology. Based on active devices, there are two classifications, bipolar and unipolar. Based on application, again there are two classifications, linear or analog ICs or non-linear or digital ICs. And based on technology, again there are two classifications, hybrid technology or monolithic technology. Okay? Now, next let us see manufacturer's designations of ICs. Now, this is the manufacturer designations of IC. The table indicates that how you can identify the manufacturer designations by seeing on the IC, that is on the physical appearance. So there are generally 6 manufacturers that manufactures the ICs. There are number of other manufacturers that manufactures the ICs, different ICs. But we are going to target the major manufacturer designation, so that you can identify by the initials that which company has manufactured this particular IC. So here the first is the National Semiconductor. If the manufacturer company is National Semiconductor, the initials written on the IC will be LF, LH, LF or TB. Okay, if you see this designations on the particular IC, that indicates that the manufacturer company is National Semiconductor. Second one is Motorola. The initial used by Motorola is MC or MFC. So if MC or MFC is used, that indicates that the Motorola has manufactured this IC. The third manufacturer company is Fairchild. If Fairchild has manufactured the IC, it will use the initial mu A or mu F. Then the fourth one is RCA. It will use the initial CA or CE. So initial used by the next signetic is N/S or N/SE. If N/S or N/SE is written on the IC, the manufacturer company will be Signetics. And the last one is Texas Instrumentation. It will use the initial SN. So if SN is written on the IC, it will indicate that this is IC741 or as something that number is, but it is manufactured by Texas Instrumentation. Okay, so these is the manufacturer designations of IC. Now, next let us see different IC packages. So generally IC packages are classified into 4 categories based on the components used. So first one is SSI. That SSI stands for small scale integration. If the components used for manufacturing the IC are less than 10, it stands for small scale integration. Second one is MSI, that means medium scale integration. It will use less than 100 components. Then the third one is LSI, that stands for large scale integration. If the components used for manufacturing the IC are greater than 100 components, that is called as LSI. And the last one is VLSI, that is very large scale integration, if the components used are greater than 1000 components. Okay? So these are the 4 IC packages types: SSI, MSI, LSI and VLSI. Okay? Now these are the basic 3 types of IC packages that are available. First one over here is metal plain package. Okay? Then the next here, this indicates the DIP package, that is dual inline package. And the last one is the flat pack. Okay? So these are the basic IC packages that are available. But nowadays, these DIP packages are widely used. Okay? These are the references you can refer through. GPU syllabus and a reference book that will be helpful to you. So thank you. In the next session, we are going to continue this chapter. We will see OPAMP IC741, its operations in detail. So thank you. Thank you for listening.